Hello, welcome back to our channel. We are picking right back up with the desperate survival of Sunny and the remaining slaves. And let me tell you, we are immediately dropping into a literally edge-of-your-seat, high-stakes situation. The survivors are planning to follow the road up to the mountain pass, just trying to escape the scene of that horrific massacre before nightfall. But there is a massive problem. The road? It's completely gone, obliterated. A terrible rockfall just wiped out whole segments of the narrow roadway. So suddenly, Sunny and the group find themselves standing right on the precipice of this vast, terrifying chasm. There's nowhere to go, and the clock is ticking loud and clear. Standing right at the edge of this broken road, the tension just immediately boils over. Benny is absolutely furious, and he's looking around for anyone to blame. And guess where his hostile gaze lands? Right on Sunny. Benny sees Sunny as the perfect victim to vent all his frustration on. He eyes Sunny's fine boots and violently suggests they just toss him right over the edge. Seriously, he calls Sunny weak, claims he's slowing the group down, and even says he's a little crazy. But the absolute most dangerous accusation Benny throws out is that Sunny is a total liability, claiming he's cursed by the Shadow God. He says ever since Sunny joined the caravan, nothing has gone right. Now, of course, Sunny knows the truth is the exact opposite, right? He was dragged into this mess precisely because the caravan was doomed from the very start. But before Benny can act on this violent impulse, Frazier steps in, his voice all muffled by that scavenged fur cloak. Now, don't get it twisted. Frazier isn't protecting Sunny out of the goodness of his heart. No way. When Frazier tells Benny not to be too hasty because Sunny might prove useful later on, there's this chilling, calculating coldness in his eyes. It's a truly terrifying moment for Sunny, because he suddenly realizes he might be kept alive merely to be used as bait, or maybe a meat shield later. Luckily for him, Gregor, the young soldier, steps in with a judgmental frown and puts a hard stop to the quarrel. With a saint-like insistence, Gregor firmly declares that they are not leaving anyone behind. Benny just furiously clenches his teeth, waves his hand, and demands to know what on earth they are supposed to do next. Okay, let's dive into this desperate plan. Faced with a complete dead end, they have to do something, right? The group looks at the broken road, down the terrifying mountain slope, and finally straight up at a sheer cliff wall that's been absolutely broken apart by falling rocks. Frazier recalls that back in the old days, there used to be a pilgrim's path leading to the mountain peak situated right above them. The idea is, if they can somehow scale this terrifying, treacherous slope to reach those old remnants, they might find their way back to an undamaged section of the road. Naturally, everyone shifts uncomfortably. The prospect of climbing this sharp, icy incline is horrifying to everyone except the perpetually calm Gregor. When Benny asks if Frazier is insane, Frazier just shrugs and asks if anyone has a better idea. Crickets. No one does. So the terrifying ascent begins. As they prep for the climb, Benny and Frazier stubbornly hold on to the heavy weapons they scavenged from the dead soldiers. But Sunny, he has to make a very painful strategic choice. As the weakest member of the group and already struggling to keep up, he decides to drop his newfound short sword. Leaving that physical iron behind is a massive regret, but it's a completely necessary survival tactic. Even though the sword didn't seem too heavy on flat ground, let me tell you, on this icy slope, every single extra gram feels like an absolute ton. Walking up the mountain with supplies was hard enough, but this climb instantly turns into pure, agonizing torture. Just half an hour in, Sunny literally feels like his muscles are melting, and his lungs are on the verge of imploding. It's brutal. One single misstep on these slippery rocks means tumbling down to a gruesome death. And this brilliantly illustrates Sunny's mental distraction. To keep from just losing his mind from the physical torture of the climb, Sunny desperately retreats inward and begins to imagine the rewards awaiting him if he somehow survives this horrific trial. Finding exactly 0 happy memories to rely on, he totally immerses himself in thoughts about the first nightmare's boon. This is it, the ultimate reward given to an awakened by the spell. It dictates your potential, your power, and the terrifying price you have to pay to survive. The boon basically breaks down into 3 major steps: perceiving soul cores, gaining access to the dream realm, and finally, acquiring a unique aspect and its accompanying flaw. So let's look closely at the first major benefit of the boon, the ability to perceive and actually interact with soul cores. This is pretty much the fundamental basis of a person's rank and power in this universe. The stronger your core, the greater you can become. And the only way to improve this core, you have to brutally scavenge and consume soul shards from the corpses of other dream realm inhabitants. But there is a super deadly caveat to this system, and it explains exactly why Sunny's current weakness is so terrifying. See, while humans only have one soul core, nightmare creatures can possess multiple. A lowly beast might have just one, but a terrifying tyrant, like that mountain king they faced earlier, can have up to 5 cores. That massive power imbalance is exactly why the Awakened risk brutal, gruesome deaths just to hunt powerful creatures. Okay, moving to the second vital benefit. This one elevates survivors to the rank of dreamers, granting them access to the dream realm itself. But this is exactly where the tension really ratchets up. You don't just get to waltz into the dream realm whenever you feel like it. No, you are absolutely forced into it on the first winter solstice after passing the trial. And you have to remain there until you find an exit to become fully awakened. That little sliver of time between finishing the first nightmare and entering the dream realm is literally your only chance to train and prepare. For Sunny, this means a terrifyingly brief window to get ready before being thrown right back into a living nightmare. He calculates it out and he figures he'll only have about a month to prepare. Just 1 month.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the grim reality of the magic system. The final benefit, the aspect ability, comes with a massive, completely unavoidable catch. The aspect is your unique magic power, whether that's combat, sorcery, or utility, that elevates the Awakened way above mundane humans and lets them actually fight back against the flood of nightmare creatures. But this incredible power is paired with the flaw. Yep, to balance the cosmic scales, every single ability has one. And these flaws are just as incredibly diverse as the magic itself. They can range from being comparatively harmless to absolutely crippling, or in some truly tragic cases, immediately fatal. You quite literally never know what hand you are going to be dealt. Just like soul cores, these aspects have a massive progression mountain based on potential power and rarity. Climbing these ranks really feels like climbing a mountain of impossible odds. The ranks go from dormant to awakened, ascended, transcendent, supreme, sacred, and finally, divine. Though honestly, no one has ever actually seen a divine aspect. As he's literally clinging to the side of the icy cliff, Sunny indulges in some desperate, wishful thinking. I mean, he is just a lowly temple slave, but he thinks about the unbelievable amount of misery the spell has put him through so far. He's really hoping that if the spell has even a tiny shred of conscience, it will reward his suffering with an early evolution, maybe, just maybe, granting him an awakened or even an ascended aspect right out of the gate. And then there is the absolute peak of rewards, a true name. This is an incredibly rare, honorary title bestowed by the spell only to its most favored and excellent awakened. Now, while the name itself doesn't actually offer a mechanical benefit, it is the highest possible mark of excellence, and pretty much every famous awakened seems to have one. But Sunny's miserable luck has basically defined his entire life. The number of people who get a true name on their very first try is so microscopically small that Sunny just quickly dismisses the idea entirely. He doesn't even want to bother daydreaming about a reward that grand. But then, suddenly, the fantasy just breaks. Sunny snaps right out of his daydream, realizing that all this mental escapade has actually accomplished is making him even more angry and desperate. He curses to himself, thinking, "Who needs excellence? I just want to survive." He even grimly jokes to himself that he might just be allergic to dreaming. It's a dark, super bitter irony, considering that if he actually survives this brutal climb and the nightmare itself, he is literally destined to spend half of his remaining life trapped inside the dream realm anyway. But hey, this brief mental distraction wasn't entirely useless, because as Sunny looks up from the slippery, icy rocks under his battered boots, a chilling physical reality sets in. The sun is now considerably lower in the sky. The freezing air is absolutely biting through his new layers of clothing, making him shiver uncontrollably. Night is rapidly approaching on the sheer, treacherous cliffside, and with the darkness comes the promise of unimaginable terrors. Will Sunny's desperate wishful thinking be enough to survive what waits in the dark? We'll find out next time. If you like this story, please like and share it, and subscribe to the channel to watch future episodes. Thanks for watching.